check out that leaded glass in these doors. So that one, jumping over to that one, and all of the wood inlay in the flooring is original as well. So just a great place for the history of the building itself, on top of everything else they've got to offer.
Well, if you got a dollar, won't just lousy down. Know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.
Hey, this is Trusty. Welcome back to Trusty Huckster Mercantile. Today I am in downtown Elburn, Illinois. I'll give you a little bit of a shot of it. It looks, if you're a fan of Lovecraft Country, it may look a little familiar to you. I don't know the show, but it is where Lovecraft Country, one of the locations where Lovecraft Country from HBO was filmed. But I am downtown to look at a couple antique shops. I'm going to start in MK Antiques, which is relatively new. They have a vinyl subsection, and we'll see what we got. So right when you walk in the door in the front entry, there's some great options for lamps. We got this beautiful driftwood option with, look, check out that fiberglass shade. Got the ties along the bottom. Little bit of a condition issue there at the top, but the shade itself is actually in great condition, and it's on sale right now only for 50 bucks. So it seems like a really good price. Moving on to what looks like, can't tell if that's porcelain or milk glass. It looks like it's porcelain because there's some crazing up at the top. It's a great vintage. And then when I was looking at the driftwood one, I saw this chain. I'm like, wait a minute, what's this chain for? So I had to follow it up, follow it across, and there we go. Check that out. Everyone just needs that hanging in their foyer. So $125, worth every penny. Awesome piece. So checking out this booth right on the aisle, and this caught my attention right off as a piece of Weller cameo. It's not marked, but they know what it is, and they're pricing it at 28 bucks, which is actually still a good price for it because it's in perfect condition. Too much for me to pick up to resell, but I love the look of the old Weller, the old Roseville. Just kind of got a unique look to it. But I'm like, hey, if they've got some old Weller, you know, what other kind of pieces do they have? So scroll up, got some Lou Ray, which I think is a really popular mid-century modern. Cool trunk. And then I worked up to the top, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of a cool urn, you know, kind of neat dolphin. And as I went to look at the bottom, where it says it's copy, I felt something I thought shake on the inside, and it turned out it was this little weight that's on the side, and I recognized that weight. These were done as museum store replicas. I'm not sure if it's a specific museum, but I've sold these items. One was a lead cup. I've sold items that have that hanging lead tag, and it just indicates a really high quality. It is a reproduction, but it's a high quality reproduction of something that is thousands of years old. And they want only $7 for it because they focused on the fact it was a replica. It's not a lot of money, but they're selling on Etsy fairly regularly, like this specific one for 35, 45 bucks. There's definitely value to it, so I think I'm going to pick that up. So I walk through a little archway, and suddenly I'm in the heaven for vintage and vinyl. I am in the vinyl and vintage section of the store. So they've got some great vinyl on display, great racks of individual vinyl available. They've got, I don't know if the turntable is actually to use to test anything. We've got a turntable there, some old radio and stereo equipment. But I thought this was fun. Bobby Sherman, which admittedly I don't actually know who he is or what he's done, but this is cardboard. So I'm not, it says this is record number 33 1/3, so it's a small size, but it's got the small hole in it. It has 4 songs on it, I guess, all on the front, because the back just looks like cardboard. No price on it, so I don't know what the cost is for something like that, but I remember like vinyl, little flimsy vinyl records as a kid. Don't really remember the cardboard, so I don't know if this would have gotten this in a magazine or something. I thought that was kind of fun. And once again, filming in the western suburbs of Chicago, not too far away from where Hager was manufactured, you run into a lot of Hager. So this is one of the Hager earth wrap vases, pottery. You can tell like the avocado green, you know, I think that was all from the 70s. Got a neat shape to it. And you can see here it kind of compresses into the front and then also the back. It's a really big size and it's only $15, so a great price on it, which reflects the fact that it's actually fairly common in this area. So not at a low enough price for me to pick up to resell, but I always like to show it because a lot of people can't find Hager and I can't get away from it. And in the same booth where I found the common Hager piece, as I started looking around, started finding some less common pieces, including this. This is just a small decorative plate, little girl and what is that? Goat? Llama? Polar bear? No idea. Anyway, it is Arabia. So it's Arabia, Finland, Marit pattern. I don't come across Arabia very often, and it's a good price. They seem to sell, you know, in the $10–15 range, so this is a good price considering you wouldn't have to pay shipping if you bought it here. I'm going to leave it behind, but it is kind of encouraging when you then see pieces that are not all that common, you know, just to kind of educate and get an idea of what they look like. And as I set it down, right next to it is a piece of Wedgwood. So this is, you know, little sauce bowl, possibly a coaster, although it's a little deep for a coaster. And again, also $5 for the Wedgwood. They're calling it a crane. I guess it's a crane, all those faces covered up. Maybe a bird of paradise. May do a quick look on, no, it is crane, Kutani crane. Probably not going to pick it up, but piece of Wedgwood for $5, also really good price. Okay, after I recovered being stared at by this very bizarre looking cast iron Scotty, my eyes drifted down to a really cool piece I wanted to show. It's got some condition issues, and unfortunately being here in the mall, it's probably going to have some more condition issues, but it's just a really cool piece. It is a stoplight perfume bottle on its original card. So I can't really tell how it would have been attached. You can see the card has a cutout that kind of matches the shape of the base. And then at the top there's a hole and then kind of a place that maybe that would have somehow capped over the bottle, which is turned upside down and would have actually had the perfume in it. So I'm not 100% sure how it would be held, but it still has the tags, 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. Just a really cool, check out the cars. Just a great vintage, you know, basically advertising piece. Super cool, and hopefully somebody rescues it soon so it doesn't get any more damaged. It's $15, which I think is probably, or $10, which I think is probably a good price. Not something I'm going to pick up, but definitely want to showcase because I hadn't seen anything like that before. Thought this was a fun item to share because they're not particularly rare. It's just a little postage scale. You would put your letter into the little clip here, and as it goes down, you see there's a little, you know, weight, you know, counterbalance to show how many ounces your letter is. But what's unique about this one is it comes with the box, and I'd actually never seen the box before. So there's no indication on here specifically who made it, or I'm sorry, what era it is. It is a Lego import, and then this one does still have the Lego tag on the bottom, saying that it's made in Japan. So it's not being made in occupied Japan. So the tag says it's from the, I think they said from the 50s, Not sure if it's that old, but based on the box, it's probably getting there. It's maybe late 50s since it's no longer occupied Japan. But anyway, just kind of a fun piece simply because you don't normally see the box. And only $6, it's actually a good price because you get both. Came across a new channel the other day on YouTube. And so this made me think of him. Skunky Junk, if you're not already following him on YouTube, he does some haul videos. And he got everything about skunks. Collecting skunks, that is. So this is a cute little skunk family, $15. Not picking him up, not sending it to him, but, you know, take a look at Skunky Junk. So I had some success at Vinyl and Vintage. So now I'm across the street and I'm looking at Frivolous Treasures, and we'll see what they've got in store for us. So if you followed me for a while, I've done some tours of my home, also posted on Instagram, and one of the items that I have that gets a lot of attention is a lamp, which was made from a theater seat. And this is the guy that did it. So he has a whole series of these kinds of lamps, taking all industrial old parts. And you can see there's, you know, a lot of them got the lighting, you know, off to the side, you know, the big enameled canopy lights. Every piece is unique, and basically I approached him with just the seat and said, what can you do? And he came up with the theme, which now graces my living room. So always fun to be able to find ways to reinvent vintage pieces, and it's great to be able to showcase his booth, which has such a high large variety of them, all at great quality. So while Chicago has a little bit of water, known as Lake Michigan, this is not a motif we run across all that often here in the Midwest. And these are shell motif, basically a tea set. And I was trying to kind of figure out what we've got. It looks like we might have two creamers, because I think these are the two creamers. This one is an ashtray, because it's got the little ledge on there. So we've got an ashtray. The covered one is a sugar bowl. This one that's hanging is actually the teapot. You can see the spout. And then they even have the little salt and pepper shakers. The salt and pepper shakers are the ones that still have the label on them. So Sun Japan. So I'm going to assume, based on the way these are glazed, it's almost like a Majolica lead glaze, that these do have some age, being made in Japan. Don't come across them very often. Well, actually, let's be honest, I've never seen one. This is saying $29 for the full set. I was assuming it was just for the teapot, but it's actually for the entire set. So the teapot, salt and pepper, sugar bowl, ashtray, and I guess two creamers. I thought maybe one would be a mug, but they both have kind of a spout on them, so it just looks like somehow two sets got merged together with two creamers. But great, well, okay, I'll say great. Not my style, but a very distinct look, and it also looks like it's in really good condition. So kind of a cool piece to showcase, is something you don't really see that much here in Illinois. They've got some great industrial pieces tucked away in the back, and this was just one I wanted to highlight, just because, you know, you come across these on occasion, these cast iron stoves, but this is one of the larger ones that I've seen, and they're calling it a parlor stove. And so there's all these different components that this appears to unscrew to like make this little ledge come out. This turns and the door opens. I'm assuming that's how you'd feed more coal into it. And then on the top, it says Air Blast Universal. And then there's this thing on top. So it is attached here in the corner, so it doesn't appear like it's just sitting here randomly, and you can tell the patina on this is the same as this. So I do believe it all belongs together, but I don't know what this is. It's got like a handle, but it's not like, there's no spout or anything, so it's not for water or for tea. This is on here kind of like you would hang this up, which with it being attached to the entire stove, I don't know how you would do that. So I don't know, you know, there's just some really nice details, you know, some cast iron, got the curly cues on the side and the fenders. But there's just, you know, some components of this that I'm not sure what they all are. So I just kind of thought it was kind of cool. And if anyone knows what all these different components are, particularly this top section, because again, you got the hole in the back, that's where the chimney, like the smokestack would come out. So this does like tilt, but you wouldn't have been able to tilt it backwards because it would have hit the chimney stack. So it does tilt this way, but then underneath it is just solid. So I don't know if this was to cook, keep something warm. It says air blast. So I don't know if it was some sort of a way to get the heat to radiate out. You know, just something different and something very interesting in my opinion. So the benefit of watching other people's videos is you suddenly will come across things that you recognize that you'd never seen before. And here's two. These are enameled beakers, one from 1911 and one from 1897. And the appearance of them is exactly the same as the ones that Soul Nate shared in some of his earlier videos. This one is the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Victoria, so 1897 and 1837 are both on this cup. And then this one is 1911, the coronation of King George the Fifth. So that's Queen Mary, I believe, and King George, and I guess Prince of Wales. Not exactly sure why he's in the middle, but have to do a little research in my British history. This one is obviously later, from 1911, so it's a little bit cheaper. This one's $39. The Queen Victoria is $80. So they're all their money, but there's still some cool pieces. Enamel on, I don't know if that's copper, some sort of enamel on metal. And you can see they're in pretty rough condition, but given their age, that might be expected. So some fun items to see in real life after seeing them first on YouTube. I don't go through art very often when I go to thrift and vintage stores because it's hard to ship. But I am always on the lookout for paint by number, because someday Jamie and I will be able to work out our schedule. Jamie from Mid-Century Wasted is going to do a deep dive on paint by number. So when I find them, I always, at least take a look. And if they're inexpensive, I need one for my own collection. So here's a peacock, $10, good price, but I'm not going to pick that up. What I found interesting about this one is the date on the wine bottle is 1999. I didn't know paint by number was still going on by then. So you've got kind of a little Tuscan scene. But then here's one that's with the others. I've never seen paint by number on canvas before. Unfortunately, they folded it, so it's got huge creases running through it. But I think that's paint by number. I mean, at least it kind of looks like it. The sky doesn't. But all those individual pieces, it definitely has the paint by number feel. It's a signed piece, or somebody did sign it, I guess. I don't know if that's a signature or not. I thought mine was bad. But I've never seen paint by number actually done on a canvas before. There's no markings on the back, so I don't know if it was a kit or somebody figured it out on their own. This one's $15. Kind of a neat scene. I do kind of like it, but it's unfortunate with the creases. You can see that there's actually light coming through. So not adding this to my collection, but someday we'll learn all about paint by numbers and maybe even paint by number on canvas. So now I'm here to check out Amazing Grace Antiques, which is just a little north of downtown Elburn. So as you're coming up the ramp, there's some great primitives, some great country. Let's see, what are they saying? They're saying it's here for lakeside living. I don't know if there's any lakes or immediate area, but a lot of people in this area have country homes up in Wisconsin or farther upstate. So maybe that's the lakeside living, but it's all, some great country primitives that are going to get more primitive out here sitting out on the porch. Great trunk. Let's see what kind of prices they've got. Wow, only $55 on the trunk. That's pretty amazing. So Amazing Grace is the name of the shop. Well, that's interesting. So I've seen the stoneware before, but not the big bands on it. So it looks like maybe it was cracked and that was what they used to salvage it. Interesting. Great farm table. Fantastic. Oh, look at the stained glass. Beautiful. All right, let's go inside. So Amazing Grace has been here for some time. Just for some reason I'd never been here. I did not realize it was a collection of vendors. It's in an old house, and I'm currently in the kitchen, and I just thought it was fun to show how they've integrated all of the kitchen items into the displays. So you've got this great sink, which does appear to be functional because there's some dishes and dish soap there. But then they've got that cool little stove, and they're using that for the coffee station. Coffee's available for customers. Neat little table with little ice cream chairs right here in the middle. Another little camp stove over on the side. So just kind of a great use of a kitchen area, display kitchen items, a neat variety, and fun place to be. So I've actually moved into the basement, and wanted to highlight this room just in the sense that they did such a good job of making it feel brighter, so you don't really feel like you're in a basement. I mean, you can't hide the fact that, you know, the joists are above our heads. But, you know, some nice brighter colored paint. There is a window here on the side. So they got a little bit of light going in, and then some nice lamps all around. So they just made it into a nice little, you know, kind of a lot of porcelain, shabby chic, you know, some really pretty display articles that typically when you think of a basement area in an old house like this, it would all be rustics and primitives. So this is kind of a nice surprise. So I'm still in the basement, which is divided up into little rooms, and the center of this room, you cannot help but notice this gigantic, what they're calling a dough bowl. That'd be a lot of dough. So I'm not sure if there's a different purpose when it gets that large. It's a general shape of a dough bowl. And then they're saying they did a custom stand for it. So this, you know, this huge piece is $495. So as you know, which is not a bad price when you consider how large it is. I'm not sure in a home what the purpose of something this big would be. I love from the retail side using it to display this huge setting of porcelain, these rose chintz dishes from Johnson Brothers. I mean, that's just, it's a great statement piece, but most people wouldn't be able to do that in their home. You know, if you put maybe a glass top on it, it could be a console table, you know, maybe behind a sofa table. You know, I love the looks of it. Definitely a conversation piece, but you need the space to have something that may serve no purpose whatsoever, except to look cool. But that's kind of what art does. This is one of the largest displays of flower frogs that I've seen. Unfortunately, no glass figural flower frogs, which is what I like to collect, but still a really interesting variety. You know, most people are familiar with the glass. You know, they've got several of the clear glass. I don't think, yeah, I think that's just cloudy, clear glass. So let me pull out my light here. Yeah, no glow. Couple pottery ones though. So that's they're saying is a Nippon little tree stump one, which is kind of cool. Another pottery one in the back. One that kind of looks like a mushroom. So there are definitely some with some shapes to it. This one's kind of cool. It's like a double tier one, which does appear to be, no, it's black pottery. 16 holes. So that's a fairly large one. And no mark on that one. So again, kind of a neat collection. Nothing that I'm going to add to my own, but it's kind of nice to see such a wide variety in one place. I'm on the main level of the house, and this is the second room in. So I'm not sure what its original purpose would have been, because there's this really cool built-in cabinet that, you know, I would have thought possibly the dining room, but why would you have big drawers like that in the dining room? But you can see that it is built into the wall, so it must jut out or somehow accommodate the front parlor, you know, must somehow accommodate that. There is a closet right next to it. So I don't know if this could have been a bedroom here, even though it's on the main level. I'm not sure how this house would have initially been set up. But, you know, here to look for vintage and antiques, but just love exploring, you know, the real-life antiques in place. And maybe, you got really high ceilings here, how high up that goes, how this house would have been originally used by its original owners. So in past videos, and then also on my live sales, I've talked about M.A. Hadley, who designed a very distinct line of pottery for Louisville stoneware with this blue script and handwriting. And, you know, it's one of those cases, once you start seeing it, it's pretty obvious when you come across it. These caught me a little off guard because I'd never seen the canister sets before. So this one is the goodies jar. So instead of a cookie jar, you get a goodies jar. Both the lid and the base are signed M.A. Hadley. And then there's the drippings jar. They're both priced at $23, which is a pretty good price. There's currently only one listed on eBay right now for a little bit more than this, plus you'd have to pay shipping. So, you know, if you find it live for this price, it's actually a pretty good price at 23 bucks. Not really enough room for me to pick it up because then I'd also be paying for shipping. The goodies jar seems a little bit more common, but as with a lot of canister sets, the drippings tended not to be as popular. You know, if you're going to collect your grease from cooking, you may not want to put it on display. So these were either, or if you were using them, they'd get damaged because you're pouring hot grease, you know, you're handling heavy items. So these just drippings in just about any level of canister set tend to be the least common. Not necessarily the most valuable, but sometimes they are. So I would say the drippings are a little bit more valuable than the goodies just because it's not as common. 23 bucks is a good price. Not picking them up, but definitely wanted to show them because you don't come across them very often. So for those paying close attention, you'll notice that the day is not nearly as nice as it was when I started filming. It's because I ran out of time. So here I am a week later, finishing up filming at the last location that I'm going to here in downtown Elburn. New place to me, Sadie's on Main. Not really sure what to expect. It says a group of local artisans, but I heard it discussed with some of the vintage community, so I'm hoping for the best. Let's see what we've got in store at Sadie's on Main. So when you first come in and close the big front door, you've got the great leaded glass, which I was told is original to the house. Some great hardware. Actually reopen it because I just realized there's some great gingerbread on the screen. Beautiful. Original sconce. Great map of downtown Elburn. There's a fun little table they created. The sled over the table. Great staircase going up. And also the original vestibule doors to check out that leaded glass in these doors. So that one, jumping over to that one, and all of the wood inlay in the flooring is original as well. So just a great place for the history of the building itself, on top of everything else they've got to offer. So they've taken over the main parlor, or maybe there's a dining room, probably the parlor because of this fireplace that's on display. It's got this great insert, and then there's just this amazing stained glass recessed panel. I mean, it looks almost religious the way it's designed. So it's just a super cool architectural feature that's still within the house. And it just offsets some of the cool vintage pieces that they've got on display. So we've got, you know, even more flower frogs. I know I showed some of those in the last video. Some great European porcelain, even some pink depression glass. You know, it's all just kind of mixed together. I've never seen the bowl version of the nursery rhymes, but I've seen the plate, but not the bowl before. So it's kind of cool to get both of those. They do have some mix of non-vintage, so it's kind of like Rustic Fox or Vintage Marketplace. So you've got a kind of variety as you go around the store. I thought this was kind of cool, the old vintage cash register, you know, down here kind of tucked in the bottom. Not sure if it's for sale or just for display, but God, check out these floors. You know, just amazing that some of this stuff still exists in the original home. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of video in Sadie's. They are relatively new. They've only been open for a few months, and they are still trying to fill all of their vendor space. And a lot of what they're filling is more wholesale and decor items, which will be exceptionally popular based on the popularity at Rustic Fox and Vintage Marketplace, but just not something that I was particularly interested. I will say something that was noteworthy is I was shopping there with a friend, and she actually found some clothing, and the prices were surprisingly low for what effectively were boutique level, clothing options. So she was extremely excited to find, some unique items there. And it's great to have another store here in downtown Elburn. Actually making one more pop-up stop in Beautiful You Ministries resale shop. Actually hadn't been in here before, hadn't seen it. Thought I'd pop in, shopping with somebody else, and we decided to come in here, and all kinds of vintage. So nice little surprise. So let's see what we've got here at Beautiful You Ministries resale shop. So this is the name I don't really come across all that often, maybe if ever. Blue Ridge Greenbrier. So according to the tag or the stamp, so it's Blue Ridge Southern Potteries, made in the USA. Guess Greenbrier must be the pattern. Don't really know anything about this group. We have to do a little bit of research on it. They combined it with this great 70s avocado glassware, but it looks like the Greenbrier has glassware that comes along with it. So kind of a nice little surprise, and really a whole 53-piece set for only 40 bucks. Good price at the resale shop. So with the CD case sitting in front of it, I kind of suspected that this was going to be a reproduction that would play CDs, but it's the real thing. We've got an Emerson Radio and Phonograph Corporation with volume, tone, selector, and phone-radio dials off to the side. 50 bucks. It's decent condition, a little bit of wear on the top. Does not look like it opens. So it is just kind of built in. I said phonograph. I thought maybe it'd have a phonograph in it, but I guess this piece does not. That's just the name of the company. So kind of a cool looking piece. Not my style, and at 50 bucks, certainly not something I'm picking up, but kind of fun to see. But not to be outdone, I turn around and find the radio turntable station. So you got this dark wood cabinet, some wear in the speaker there on the bottom. But a little bit dusty, a little bit crusty. But you've got this great pull-out phonograph that then shuts, makes it look like a filing cabinet. And so it looks like it is, can't figure out, Arvin, A-R-V-I-N. Arvin radio. Cabinet's a little bit worse for wear. $70 on this one, but pretty cool statement piece. If you've got that, going for that industrial decor. So, ended up being another full day of thrifting. So we finished the shops at in Elburn, grabbed some lunch, then went to an estate sale and did a Goodwill run. So kind of mixed it up. I already know that this video is going to be longer than I want it to be, so I'm not going to introduce a haul video at the end of this like I've been doing. I think I've had one or two things that I might have bought that I'll indicate in the original video, but I definitely bought some things that were not caught on video. I didn't do any video at all in the estate sale. So, but I'll give a little sneak peek. I got that mirror. I don't know if you can really see it. So I was pretty excited to pick that up. Some small things as well, but so ended up being, again, a full day. Took it into two different videos because I did want to try and include everything from Elburn. Elburn is just a cute little and really emphasis on little community. It primarily is comprised of one major road that runs right through the middle of it, Illinois Route 47. And it's just kind of become this little mecca for traditional vintage and antique shops. And then adding with Sadie's, adding a little, more decor side. And I hope they all just really do well. It is nice to have that type of community nearby. And, not really sure why I hadn't tried some of those places before, but I was super glad that I did this time. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've gotten this far and you're not a subscriber, really would appreciate you going ahead over subscribing to the video. Maybe like the video, share, comment, share it with your friends, but tell me what you liked. Tell me what you want to see more of, and we'll kind of go from there. But thanks again for all your time. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, show me a sign if you're wishing me to stay. Otherwise, I say goodbye and finish out the day. And that sunrise in the morning and you got nothing to say. Oh, that's when I'll be headed on my way.